Hello and very warm good evening to all of my students. In today's very short video, I am going to talk about Pakistani post-colonial feminism. But before we enter into it, we should understand the difference between feminism and post-colonial feminism. Well, feminism is a general body of movement and literature produced for the struggle of equal rights by the Western women. The white women launched it and the struggle continued there. They achieved their targets, but the achievement of their targets does not help support the women in the formerly colonized countries like Pakistan, like African countries, like China and Japan, and most of the time it is South Asia regarding which we are going to talk about. Because the realities were different, and besides that, doubly colonized concept of women is available inside these South Asian territories. Doubly colonized how, for example? First of all, it was the colonizer under which both the men and women lived, and so women were colonized in the same way as the men were colonized. That is the first colonization. But after the white man as a colonizer receded back to his territories, I mean the decolonization took place at that time, the second colonization of women was started by their own men. Now their own men started to colonize them in the name of the cultural conservation. They tried to put them behind the walls or behind the liberties which were given to them that were also taken away from them. So in that way, double colonization of the women occurs. It is in the name of culture with which the women are colonized by their men once again after the colonization by the white man. Now, in this regard, we need to understand three basic people related to this post-colonial feminism. First of all, it is Uma Narayan, who also believed that the things which are said and done in the name of feminism in Western world, these do not justify the things inside the Eastern or the South Asian world. So we need to have new scholarship, we need to have new discussion and debate on the condition of the women. As in case of white women, what rights they had achieved could not possibly be achieved for their sisters in Africa, for their sisters in South Asia. So in that way, a new debate was required to be talked about with respect to the territories which were formerly colonized by the British people. So that is why the realities were quite different. As a result, the feministic achievements and the concepts couldn't be applied to the people in the Eastern or Asian world. So in this way, a different feministic aspect is to be debated, and that is why this aspect is talked about in the sense of post-colonial feminism. Then comes forward another writer, very prolific writer and critic and theorist, that is Gayatri Spivak. Gayatri Spivak, for example, terms the women and the people who cannot raise their voices as subalterns. These subalterns keep on silent and they have no voice, and even if they try to speak, their voice is not heard, and as a result, they are the people who cannot be related to the Western feminism. They need to be talked about in a very different terminology. Same is the case with the third critic and theorist, and that is Chandra Mohanty. Mohanty says that again, we cannot apply all those values and theories which are associated with Western feminism. However, the struggle for women, which is the general terminology in both feministic attitudes in the Western world as well as in the South Asian world, that can be used, but with the understanding of different realities. That the very first reality is that the women in post-colonial eras, post-colonial territories are doubly colonized women, and as a result, it's not possible to relate them with the Western world. Moreover, the Western women still carries the burden of solving the problems of their sisters inside South Asia, which has not so far happened. And as a result, the feminism which is working, which should work inside the South Asian territories is a different one. The realities are quite different. For example, the struggles which the people in Western women's side make, they never talk about the dowry thing, they never talk about the dressing and about the cultural matters which are related to the South Asian women. Here, the marriage is the biggest possible issue, as in case of marriages with the churches, marriages with Holy Quran, and marriages with different other things and not suitable marriages. These are biggest issues in this area. And alongside that, the kind of rights for property that is demanded by the Western woman, it was given to her. That same right was possibly available in the Islamic countries, for example. The right was already available. and therefore the kind of dressing and the cultural aspect and tradition became more important for the South Asian women, and so they had to be dealt in a different way. So the struggle which the Western women launched for the achievement of their rights, some of these were already available here, and some of these needed to be struggled for. Alongside that, the issues which the Western women had were solved on her own part. They were not solved here, and so new gaze, new debate is to be started. For example, if we take the novel of Kasra Shahraz, The Holy Women, here the ideals pursued by the Western women for its achievement cannot be applied. Here we need to see what are the local cultures, what are the things which are happening here. Accordingly, we need to struggle for the liberation of women and for the better improved life of women, for the right of choice of marriage of women. These things we need to talk about here in Pakistan. So that is why these realities come forward to make a different kind of feminism, which should be called post-colonial feminism, and that basically means the double colonization of women should be removed. Now, this double colonization was not available on the part of the Western women, and so it's a different debate now. It's not related directly or 100% related to the feministic aspect of that feminist movement in the West. It is here having a different problem, different set of situations, and that poses different problems as well. So in that way, post-colonial feminism is a different thing, which Chandra Mohanty has talked about the double colonization of women. And so these critics and theorists believe that the Asian, South Asian realities in which women need a different kind of approach and different kind of feminism, and that is why post-colonial feminism relates more to the areas, territories, and times which are called post-colonial. I hope this very short video, which will help some of my students understand how they can apply the post-colonial feminism with respect to post-colonial theory, and especially with reference to Chandra Mohanty. And that's it from me for this slide. Hopefully it will be helpful. Thank you very much for watching.